Hour with the big Republican power grab in Texas, which could tip the balance of power in Congress in the midterms. Texas Republicans, following the demands of President Trump, unveiled a new congressional map this week that could hand the GOP 5 additional House seats, each drawn in areas Trump carried by double digits. And the plan is moving quickly. After a marathon hearing on Friday, the committee could vote to approve the maps today, setting up a full House vote as early as this Tuesday before it heads to the Texas State Senate. California Governor Gavin Newsom has already signaled he's prepared to respond, floating a congressional map that could pick up 6 Democratic House seats if Texas moves forward. And Texas Democrats are not holding back, calling out the Republicans' blatantly political moves.
This is not a Texas map, it is a Trump map. It was not requested by any Republican or any Democrat in Texas. It was imposed by President Trump, who has a stranglehold on Congress. And the only question here is whether he also has a stranglehold on this Texas legislature.
The only way that you get here is by making sure that you trample upon the rights and the liberties and the voices of minorities.
What are we doing? How can we ignore what happened with the Guadalupe? How can we put that off and decide that gerrymandering is more important than taking care of the lives of those people? The people of Texas are not going to forget this. They're not going to forget, because I'm not going to let them.
Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett of Texas, who you saw in a moment ago in that video, and Texas Democratic State Representative Rafael Anchia. State Representative, I want to start with you because, you know, Democrats in your state have talked about and floated the idea of a walkout, fleeing the state. We've seen that happen to keep the House or the Senate from having a quorum. What is on the table, or has that door already been closed on the procedural moves here?
Hey, Eugene. Thanks for having me on this morning. Look forward to having this conversation with my longtime friend, Congressman Doggett. Listen, this week, the Republicans released their map, and Democrats in Texas are going to make sure that the whole country knows what's happening, because this isn't just about Texas. This is about the entire country, and not only the rules of elections, but how Donald Trump wants to rule the review elections in Texas, and is not going to stop there. It's going to continue with other states so that he can hold on to power, and he's going to do so by trampling on the rights of minorities. Democrats in Texas have all options on the table. We're going to use whatever tool we have in the toolbox to make sure that this doesn't happen, and we're going to let everybody in the country know about it.
What are those actual tools that you guys are talking about?
Well, they're procedural tools in the House. We can fight on the House floor. We can make sure we fight in the courts, and then we're going to fight in the court of popular opinion, because this is not only a rigging of the rules by Donald Trump, but it's un-American. We're going to make sure that we fight with everything.
Congressman Doggett, I would love to get your thoughts on the redistricting effort, particularly since the proposed map for your district would put you and Congressman Greg Casar in the same district, and therefore you guys would have to run against each other in order if these maps go through. Talk about your feelings about not just the redistricting effort, but the impact it's going to have on you.
Well, I think we like to brag about the fact that everything is bigger than Texas. But my friend, Representative Anchia, has got the key point here. This is about the entire country. This is Donald Trump's major effort to assure that he maintains one-man rule with a fully complicit House that will delegate all its power to him. And it's a real threat not only to everyone at the kitchen table by Trump's incredible economic policies, but it's a real threat to the future of democracy. What happens here in Texas is spreading across the country, and we have to fight back with everything we possibly can do. I think that one of the tactics that they use is to try to divide Democrats against one another. Yeah, my personal district that I've represented, 2/3 of the people in it continue in the new district. I had already filed for re-election in that district. I think if Republicans can divide us instead of causing us to work together to fight this plan with every tool we have, then they'll prevail. And I have confidence in the leadership of Representative Anchia, Representative Wu, who heads the caucus, and the other members of the state legislative delegation to do everything they can. I think this calls for extraordinary action because this is an extraordinary act by the president to subvert the will of the voters and to ensure the people that can't get their member of Congress to show up for a town hall or jury them if they do, given the bad policies of the Trump administration, who want accessible representation are about to be denied it so that Trump can maintain power indefinitely.
Congressman Sam Stein here. This is going to, as you said, spread beyond Texas. If Texas were to go forward, we probably should expect California to follow suit. I'm wondering if you could sort of pull back the curtain a little bit. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has gone down to Texas to meet with Democratic members there. And then, of course, you've had probably conversations with your colleagues in California about what they might do if Texas were to go forward with these maps. Can you tell us a little bit about what those conversations are like? How seriously should we viewers take the idea that California actually will follow suit if Texas goes forward?
We should take it very seriously. You know, I think it would be wonderful, and we proposed this in the House when Democrats had control, that every state in the country had a citizens nonpartisan commission because gerrymandering hurts everyone. But we have to fight fire with fire. When Donald Trump gains 5 seats out of Texas, if he does, and unfortunately, I'm afraid that stranglehold I talked about yesterday is one that appears to be very strong on the Texas legislature, just like on the House Republicans, the first group that have been intimidated, not immigrants, but Republican elected officials. But unless California responds, we will not be able to combat a total Trump domination of the next election. That's, I guess, what he had in mind when he said some groups wouldn't even need to bother voting next time because he'll have this thing so rigged. In California, some key Republicans will lose their jobs as a result of what California can do, and it should offset some of what happens in Texas or even more. And I think this will then begin to affect other states, whether it is Florida for the Republicans or Maryland or Washington or Illinois, a number of states for Democrats. To have our entire country divided, not only red and blue, but divided in the members of Congress that represent them in such a dramatic way will have bad consequences. But we have to stop Donald Trump from his total takeover of our government.
State Representative, on that idea of Democratic states doing something similar, we have some headlines here from Washington Post. In California, Democrats are likely to need permission from voters before they can establish new lines. In New York, they may not be able to establish new districts until after next year's midterms because the process for amending the state constitution is so drawn out. And in Illinois, lawmakers can act right away, but the impact could be limited because they have already tilted many of the state's districts in their favor. And so you have governors in these states saying, you know, we're going to do it, but it doesn't seem that clear that they're going to actually be able to do it. So why should, you know, Americans, folks watching this, feel any kind of solace that if Texas goes through, that Democrats are going to be able to do this, some similar things in other states when their hands seem to be tied?
Yeah, we met with Governor Newsom last week, and he's all in. And, you know, despite the reporting, he thinks he has 2 paths. One is to declare that this is mid-decade redistricting and not redistricting that's subject to the Independent Redistricting Commission and move forward. And the other path he articulated was that he would just have a ballot initiative that he feels confident he would win so that if Texas acts, California can then follow suit and offset the number from Texas. In fact, even do more. The draft maps that you've seen discussed in the popular media show that they can more than offset the Texas numbers. And with Illinois and the other blue states, look, we're going to have a bang up 2026. It's going to be a strong reaction against what Donald Trump is doing. But we have to, as the congressman said, fight fire with fire here. We can't show up to a gunfight with a butter knife. This is very, very important. The last thing I want to mention for you is that Republicans in Texas are trying to do this on the backs of black and brown people. I mean, 96% of all the growth in the state of Texas during the last census were communities of color. I chaired the Mexican American Legislative Caucus. And we know that that's what's driving the growth. And so what they're trying to do is dismantle traditional African-American and Hispanic districts, lessen representation in order to achieve their goal, and that is illegal. So ultimately, we're going to fight this in the chamber. We're going to fight this with procedural tactics, and we're going to fight this in the courts. And I feel confident that with the other blue states rallying around us, we're going to be able to defeat this effort.
Representative Chan, let me pick up on that because I am kind of curious about the math here. I mean, obviously the districts, as you see, they're all plus 10 Trump districts. I don't think anyone is predicting that it necessarily will go, be a dummy mandering, as they say. But isn't so much of this based on the idea that the gains Trump and Republicans made with Hispanic voters are permanent and that they won't recede? And is it possible that some of these redrawn districts will actually stay in Democratic hands?
No question about it. In fact, when I talk to my Republican colleagues on the House floor, they're really concerned that some of these districts are going to get cut too thin. We also talked to Democratic members of Congress who are subject to the redistricting, especially in places like the border, and they feel pretty decent about it. They feel good about it. If you look at the trend lines on Hispanic voting, it's been usually that you have when you get three Latinos together, you've got two of them are Democrats and one who's a Republican. And that trend line really has not changed materially over time. I mean, President Obama hit 70-30. Most recently, Donald Trump has performed well up ballot, but down ballot, Democrats all won those South Texas seats. And so I think that it's a big gamble by Republicans.
Congressman Doggett, just really quickly before our producer yanks me off the stage. I talked to some Democrats who are looking at the fact that you and Greg Casar are going to have to go against each other and are saying they are hoping that, they've been talking about this new generation of leadership, et cetera, et cetera. You've been representing Texas since 1995. Your thoughts on folks who think that, let the new puppies come in and have these jobs?
I think we need all generations to be involved here, and I think we need to look at performance. I was the first person to call from the Congress to call for President Biden to step aside because he was not being an effective messenger for us. He was not someone who could be reelected. I never criticized his age. I criticized his performance. And I think we need a team that has players of all generations that can contribute to our caucus. I was up well into the wee hours of the morning speaking and trying to block the big, ugly bill. I'll continue to be very forceful. Congressman Casar will have his own decision to make, but I think we'll continue working together to do everything that we can to stop this awful bill.